Uh-oh.
Oh,
We're being recorded.
I'll edit. Don't worry.
Hey, we color coordinated our shirts.
We did. I was gonna
Ah.
wear a hat too, but I left it at somewhere else's house.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah,
Fair
get
enough.
that on the big jobs.
I
Hey,
can't
man.
believe. So am I definitely coming through on this microphone?
Good question. Tap your mic. Just little, little tapper.
Okay, so I'm not getting any monitor action from that, but I can hear you. So that's actually that might work pretty well.
Yeah. I might actually turn you up a smidgen.
Can turn my mic up as well. One sec.
Oh,
Yo, is that better?
oh yes.
Or is that too loud?
Oh, it's okay. I have controls here. I have controls here.
Bro.
I'm in control, man. I'm in control.
And this microphone's not too distracting right here.
I'm actually a little jealous. Yeah.
Okay. What if I did it like that? Is that a bit better?
Oh, that just looks even nicer.
Like,
Yeah.
ooh.
What you know about that?
What you know about that? You know what? I'm even going to move it across a bit. Get comfy. There we go.
So obviously this isn't your first time in front of a microphone.
No, not at all.
All right. So for those who don't know, myself and the other man on the end is it's Evan the Prophet. Would you prefer Broskies or Laurie?
Oh, bro, whatever. Just Ev the Prof.
Ev the Prof.
The profiterole. After lockdown.
So Evan. Oh, where to begin? I guess hip hop has been a massive part of your life and definitely sort of shaped where you've come from, where you're going, and where you've been, and all that kind of stuff. So you're a hip hop artist or a rapper, and you're very immersed in the culture. Do you want to tell us a little bit about, what it is you actually do and what it is that the people don't know about you that they're watching this for the first time and meeting you for the first time?
Yeah, cool. So like Eli said, I'm an MC. I like to rap, but yeah, I'm very much immersed in the culture and the community side of that. So I guess for me, it's not just about making music or stuff like that. It's always been about journeying alongside the culture and marrying, values, faith, lifestyle, and being a voice either for the community that I'm a part of or to be a voice for something that's relevant within the community I'm a part of. And so have always endeavored to, run parallel in life in whatever I'm doing, whether that's with work or creating something that I'm running parallel with, through the hip hop culture, but also with, my faith, my values, the things that I want to see, and always trying to find ways to use that within the community. So that's kind of shaped and molded my direction in a lot of ways, and has been an awesome journey so far. So I don't care how old I get, how many more grays I find in the beard, or how many extra chins decide to show up during a pandemic. I'll constantly be the fella that's rocking the mic or somehow alongside something hip hop related. It's not just for the young folk, you know what I mean? So yeah,
I have to say, so we met, oh geez, would have been like 8 years ago.
I think so. Yeah,
7-8 years ago, maybe
2014, I think.
Yeah, you've got it written down in your journal. I met
I've
Eli today.
Yeah, bro, I did. I met this guy today, and I've never felt so self-conscious about my figure until I saw him training.
The reason I brought that up was because up until we'd sort of crossed paths, I've always associated hip hop with a very different culture to what you introduced me to. And for me, hip hop and that rap culture, and I grew up listening to gangster rap and moved more towards I guess country rap of all things. But like I love 90s rap. I love that boom bap, and what you showed me was, it doesn't have to be necessarily, you don't have to be out there being a thug, you know,
Mm.
um, to be a part of the culture. And you really opened my eyes to the elements of hip hop, and sort of gave me a new perspective on it, and really made me feel like there's a sense of pride to be taken in hip hop that can get shadowed by, let's say, like you know, the big names in the industry that might have a different message, you
Yeah.
know. So just for the folks at home that don't know, what are the elements of hip hop that um
So I guess the hip hop is not just a genre of music or what you call a type of dance that you might not understand. Hip hop is a culture, and within that culture, it's expressed through the creative elements, which is the DJ turntablism,
Mm.
the MC on the microphone, the b boys breakdancing, uh, b boys and b girls, mind you, and graffiti, graffiti art. And I mean, you can add some extra. So, the fifth element, a lot would refer to as knowledge of self, or knowledge, knowledge of community, knowledge of what's going on, and being able to be some sort of vessel to speak on behalf of your community. So, it was birthed out of a place of hardship. Obviously, if you know much about what was happening in the Bronx in New York in the 70s and uh, around that, but out of some tough situations, something beautiful was birthed, and that was something that was empowering and free and available, and it brought the community together. And like you said, there's different messages coming from different people in different lifestyles, and
Yeah.
I'm not in a position to judge any of that, obviously, but it's a platform to be able to express yourself. And I think generally it comes from speaking about your experience and what you see around you, and um, that can be quite empowering. But obviously, for some people, that journey means that something shifts, and you're not just speaking about what's going on and what you're experiencing, and having an outlet for that negative stuff, but something might shift where you're able to speak on behalf of that from the other side and be a
Yeah.
voice that breathes life into it. But unfortunately, uh, it's quite marketable to to
Yes.
keep speaking from the one angle looking in on that stuff, which is a bit of a shame when there's a lot of young
Mm.
minds are molded by that. And like you said, you grew up listening to
Yeah.
a lot of stuff that had some of that content, and it does it can shape you in certain ways. And
Yeah.
that's why it's
Definitely.
important to have a balance, and like any type of community or culture, making sure there's a good balance of people that are speaking from a
Mm.
place of some sort of experience to give a proper overview of what that community actually looks like, not
Yeah.
just what's being presented or promoted. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that, you know, that community is such an important element as
Mm.
well, you know. I think what for me, looking at it now from you know, a few years down the line, I loved graffiti growing up. I absolutely
Yeah.
loved it. I loved the font work, like creating your own fonts and your bubble work and like your pieces and all that kind of stuff. And it was so rebellious. And you know, and then like if you look at it from like a, you take away the sort of the hip hop and all that kind of stuff, it's like there's some really creative people out there creating amazing artworks.
Mm.
And it's a shame that for the most part, for those people to um, pursue that art, they have to do it in a way that's not necessarily legal.
Mm.
You know, whether it was you know, getting in the train yards or behind those buildings or something. You know, um,
The fun stuff.
yeah. And but I think, you know, that there's so much talent within the hip hop community.
Mm.
And I don't know what's your opinion on like that hip hop community in all the elements, not just graffiti or whatever, but like in all the elements, integrating into the broader space of
Mm.
the community.
I've I've always been passionate about seeing people find a way to express themselves
Mm.
and enjoy it. Like, and I love too that no matter where I go in the world, and I've been lucky enough to do a lot of travel, and I've had some great opportunities to go to some really cool corners of the world. No
Yeah.
matter where I go, there's I can look up somewhere, someone in the vicinity that is connected to, you know, a bit of a hip hop community that is really just holding on to the roots and staying
Yes.
true to that, and where all the elements are being represented in various ways. And I'm so in love with seeing people, um, yeah, that are able to express themselves through one of the elements that speaks to them,
Yeah.
and also too, you know, being able to do it in a way that represents where they're from and their background and culture. And it's
Yeah.
interesting how different countries, you know, or regions kind of lean towards a certain element a bit more,
Yeah.
where,
Yeah.
you know, you go to certain parts of Southeast Asia and there's heaps of breakers and poppers and lockers
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
dancers, and certain parts of Europe, which is has a rich history of art, has some just incredible graffiti artists and
Yeah.
stuff as well. And actually, even in Europe, there's a good breaking scene. And yeah, so I just love it. But even outside of hip hop, bro, I it's been a passion of mine to find somebody um, that can, you know, find a way to share their story, share their journey through a creative outlet.
Yeah.
I absolutely love seeing people find a way to do that, whether it's just a personal thing to be able to, you know, let go of stuff or express themselves in a way they couldn't in a conversation with somebody,
Yeah.
and also too being able to, you know, not just have an outlet, but almost do all these things and not realizing, you know, if you're writing lyrics, you're almost setting goals. You're kind of
Mm.
anticipating what you want to see for your life. It's so therapeutic in so many ways. And
Yeah.
um, you know, it's not just about am I good enough to make a career out of this. It's a creative outlet, and some are lucky enough to share that on a bigger platform and to do it in a
Mm.
way that's a vocation. But you know, for many, it's a way to express yourself through
Yeah.
something you're passionate about, with people who are passionate about it too. So
Mm.
I think a lot of those positive parts of that community far outweigh um, any of the
Yeah.
other stuff that is presented to the world to get a snapshot of, you know, what's coming out of hip hop. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Definitely.
Mm.
I love that, man. Like, so like I can definitely see. So you worked for a charity called Musicians Making a Difference, or MAD,
Yeah.
for like what, over 10 years, something
Yeah,
like
bro.
that.
Long enough
Um
to be OG, be the one
yeah.
of the OG,
Well, actually, I was,
old school mad heads. Yeah, bro.
yeah, yeah. Well, I was only thinking, we'll get back to the math. So I was only thinking, when I was making my coffee, I was like, Listen Esso released a song not too long ago, and it's called OGs, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh wow, like Evan is actually OG in the scene. And you're so unassuming. Like, sometimes like we'll have a chat, and you're like, oh yeah, nah, like I met KSI and blah blah blah, or I've rocked stages with like the big names and
Yeah.
stuff like this. It's like, who are you? It's just like, you blow me away sometimes because you're so humble and you're so caring. And I really
Thanks, man.
admire that you're very humble. And sometimes I wish I could be that humble. um but we
Yeah,
try.
but when you look that good, you don't have
We
a
don't
reason to
have
be
to,
humble,
yeah.
bro. You know?
When you're this humble, it's very humbling, and you should tell people how humble you are.
Yeah.
But
But no, that's I'm
mm,
always wanting to be appreciative of any opportunity that comes my
yeah.
way. You know what I mean? And those things are, you know, few and far between nowadays with, you know, with COVID and stuff, and not a lot of gigs. But also, you know,
Mm,
when life shifts a little bit, like Izzy and myself, we were jumping on the mic multiple times a week sometimes, or at least, you know, once a fortnight we had a gig somewhere, or we'd try and
yeah.
travel somewhere and stuff. And I definitely miss that season, and I don't see that as something that's not going to happen again. But
Mm.
it's also been nice too to yeah, just explore ways to stay active and be a part of things in
So
different ways without.
So Izzy, just for the guys that don't know, Izzy is I guess your partnering MC.
Yeah, bro. Yeah,
Yeah, Izzy and the Prophet.
my hetero life mate,
Yeah,
like
hetero life.
Jay and Silent Bob.
Yeah. Yeah, like that's cool. Like, I guess coming into this COVID season, it's taken the whole entertainment industry and just gone, whoop,
See ya. Yeah,
see
bro.
ya. I wouldn't want to be ya.
Yeah.
And so I guess a strength in that is a lot of people in the industry are creative,
Mm.
right? So there's going to be some very creative solutions to how we approach it. um what's your sort of idea of like, what could the future look like? What should say, because I asked this question, kind of similar question the other day to in my last podcast. Yeah,
Mm.
okay, so you got a friend, right? You got a really close friend, um and he's a musician or MC or something along those lines, and he's found himself in this position where the pandemic's hit, everything's closed down, everything's just in disarray.
Mm.
What advice do you give to that friend of yours?
Oh, jeez. I think,
Mm,
like, I know for a lot of people, the whole pandemic hitting was such a shake up, and for those who are creative as well, to overnight um, be seen as completely non-essential,
yeah.
for a world who was locked down, and the only way for them to get through lockdown was to enjoy things that people created, like film and music and all that, to
Yeah.
keep their sanity.
Yeah.
Those who deemed it non-essential, I'm sure they found it very essential to get through lockdown.
Yes.
It was very disheartening, and I think in particular for people who very much rely on paying the bills by doing their gigs and you
Yeah.
know going to weddings or venues or pubs or however they do it, or if they're a touring artist or whatever,
Yeah.
and it would have been ridiculously disheartening. But I think for a lot of people to realize, hey, I fell in love with this for what it is.
Mm,
That other stuff was a byproduct of it, and
yeah.
I'm going to find ways to not just help get some sort of income for those who solely relied on that, but for others too, to stay active and still be there producing stuff for people.
Mm,
People got really creative, and I think when you limit people and strip away a lot of stuff, it can actually be a massive kind of breeding ground for next level creativity,
yes.
if the mindset's there and you don't allow yourself to be so discouraged. And so I noticed a lot of people fell back in love with music because they were creating again. They had more
Mm,
downtime,
yeah.
and they were finding new ways to say, how do I get this into the ears or eyes of people that are expecting me to produce something. And so it produced a lot of cool stuff, man. Like, I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
even this, you and me have a
Yeah.
conversation as if we're having a coffee. These types of platforms blew up, and people were doing gigs and collaborating,
Mm,
and connecting with other people they probably wouldn't have otherwise, and
mm,
found new sounds or found a new way to say stuff, and also to realized there's an importance here. People need to hear something that's going to get them through the day sometimes, and
yeah.
how can I make that instead of ranting and raving on social media about how I don't have a gig this week? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
why don't I create something that helps someone else get through the day? And I
Mm,
think yeah, for a lot of people, they fell back in love with it, and for others, they had to innovate and
yeah.
find ways to create where they were quite limited. And it's created some cool stuff. I think one of the best things I saw out of it, it wasn't a hip hop thing; it was more of
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
funk soul thing. But a group over in oh man, so somewhere in Europe, a
Yeah.
killer kind of funk band,
Yeah. Yeah.
teamed up with these amazing dudes. I think his name's Corey Wong, one of the main guys
Yeah.
in the States, and they did this concert together, filmed it. It was incredible. It was one of the best things I've seen in ages. But what
Yeah.
they did is they hired out their room that they were going to record and perform in, and created the same backdrop, the same equipment, and then mirrored it. And then when they filmed it separately,
Yeah.
they pushed them together, and it just looked like two bands in this one giant studio, and it was
Yeah.
just
Wow.
beautiful. And anyway, so I guess for me, I think
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, the two things come out of it. Uh, sorry to get to the point without rambling, but I think the two things is one,
Mm,
some innovative ways to collaborate
mm,
has really come out of the pandemic,
yeah.
and also some innovating ways to make something and to fall back in love with your craft. And
Yeah.
I think for those who didn't allow this season to completely rob them of their passion,
Yeah.
it might have been a season to look back on and see a lot of growth in.
Yeah.
personal growth or artistic kind of development. And so
Mm.
I'm hoping for that, man. I mean, it's going to be a long time for the side of the industry that lives off it and makes money off it to come out the other side. It's been,
Yeah.
the hospitality industry and the entertainment industry has been
Yeah.
absolutely hammered,
Ravaged. Yeah.
big time. But
Mm.
it'll be interesting to see how people do move forward and say, hey, you know what? If things run dry with gigs, I know how to be innovative now.
Yeah.
And for a lot of people, a lot of older people as well, not even in the creative industry, had to get with the times a bit and you know bring
Yeah.
things online that weren't, and find other avenues to communicate. So it's really kind of push people into leveling up some of their skills and
Yeah.
kind of,
Yeah.
even myself, bro. I'm like, if I had the choice, I'd still be on MySpace. You know what I mean? So like, I'm old school. I don't even have internet at home, man. I'm hotspotting this. So it
Yeah.
pushed me in a lot of ways too
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
kind of move forward a little bit and
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
amongst it. So
That's
yeah,
so good, man. And it's so real, right? It's we get used to these creature comforts,
yeah, bro.
and I know for myself, it was very much the same as well. It was so a big part of my all that entertainment company
Mm,
is I'm out there, I'm meeting people, I'm sort of setting up deals, I'm sort of interacting with the community at large, and sort of organizing all these different things to happen, and
mm,
pandemic hit, lockdowns hit, and it's
right.
like I can't see anyone, I
Mm,
can't touch base, I can't organize anything because there's nothing going on.
yeah.
And then there was like the restrictions, like how many people you could have around at the same time, and then like you might have person A here, and they're in lockdown but you're not, and it's like we're ready to go, and then it switches and it's like we're ready to go, it's like we're not.
Yeah. Right.
And having that is those limitations, you really have to evolve. And that I think that definitely is what sort of happened with me as well. I've really had to look at what it is I want to do, and
Mm,
how can I get to, how can I do that. And one of the key things I wanted to do with all that entertainment from the very beginning was I wanted to create a place where I could develop people into, I guess, more productive, creative sort of arts, like make them more productive, and
nice.
sort of help them grow not only in their discipline but within themselves. So like running different workshops and things like that, and sitting down with them and going, all right, so you got all these projects. Have you got time for your missus and your kids?
Mm,
Because it's just as
it's
important.
important. Yeah.
It's just as important, if not more. You can have all the money in the world and all the work in the world, but if you haven't got a relationship with your significant other or your children,
Mm,
you're really missing out. And so that's been a really big important thing. And when I decided to start doing the podcast form was because another part of it was I wanted to create a place where there could be some available online resources to help people grow,
mm,
and learn. Like yourself, you've had years and years and years within the music industry. I know you've worked alongside Sony and Universal and the major TV channels, and you've been around the hip hop scene probably forever.
mm.
Since like Jesus was bumping out to Wu-Tang back in the day. And on his dinosaur. And
Hebrew tang.
yeah. What do you think is the, if you could sort of like level up someone, just like you say, your average musician, do you think there's a place, a part in the average musician sort of skill set that always needs to be leveled up? And what do you think that is, and what do you think they should do about it?
Man, that's a huge question. But I
Mm,
think, if you're passionate about something and you're passionate enough to pursue it,
mm,
enough to be releasing stuff for people to hear, or pursuing it as something you want as a career, or something that you're doing, um, as your main thing.
mm,
I think you should always have the discipline to level up. You can't just rest on you can't just get to a certain level and then just assume, okay, I've reached my peak. Like, you know what I mean? Imagine if a footballer like never went down and practiced, if you didn't turn up to training,
Yeah, yeah.
or if you just,
So I'm the best. I don't need to
oh
do
yeah,
that.
you know what I mean? Oh, I'm the best in the game. Like that, you got to constantly do it. And I think
Yeah.
you need to respect the craft enough to know that
Mm.
you're not good enough that you know everything.
Yeah.
There's always more to learn. You
Yeah.
gotta humble up sometimes and go, okay, you know what, I feel like I'm the best I've been, but I've got to craft it in some way. And so I think that's something within hip hop, especially as an MC, as a lyricist. I don't want to fall into the trap of just using a formula that works when I'm writing. I want to constantly grow and develop and use different techniques, or be able to do it in different ways, explore different sounds, and
Mm.
just experiment a little bit. Not everything you make has to be released. You can just do stuff to learn and grow. But
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think I think another way too for other people is to understand what you can gain and grow and learn from other things. Listen to bands from other genres. Listen to
Yes.
groups from different countries and hear how they approach stuff. And
Yeah.
even if the lyrics are in a different language, like just certain cadences and ways that people are expressing, like you've got to really have a level of respect to your art form to constantly want to grow and develop. And that's what I'd say. I think
Yeah.
your art form should speak for itself. You don't need to feel like you got to prove yourself to everyone all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
If you respect it and you're creating well, and you're humble enough to grow and also take the right kind of uh, not criticism, but having people around that are investing into you as well. But
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think nowadays too, it's a massive part of it is the skill set of actually being able to be up to date on how to promote yourself or to market yourself, and have a certain sense of hustle as well. So I guess
Mm.
if I was to suggest anything, it'd be a balance between you know knowing how to promote and push, and
Yeah.
having that skill set, but also having the character and the humility to be someone that people can stand being around for a couple of minutes without having
Mm.
your mixtape thrown in their face every 5 seconds. You know what I mean? Like,
Chuck it in the Happy
just
Meal and
bro, character over over
yeah, yeah,
everything
yeah.
in a lot of ways too.
100%. Yes, definitely.
Mm,
I definitely agree. Like always upskilling,
mm,
and no matter what field you work in, you work in sales, and and that's just the bottom line of it is that. And
mm.
it's like one of my mantras is, just be a good person because no one wants to work with a dickhead.
Fair enough.
You know.
That's a good mantra.
Thanks, man. Thanks. It's actually, it's sort of adapted, but Gina Jeffries said
Oh,
that.
there you go.
Yeah. So
Cool.
yeah, I was like, I like that. Probably didn't use as much French, but
As
I'm very
as
cultured. So
colorfully.
yeah. No, that's cool. So I was just thinking about how much your sounds sort of changed in a way
Mm.
over the years. I've listened also. You're showing someone something, some music of yours,
Yeah.
and we listened to Blackout with Izzy
Nice. Yeah.
and Reflect and
Polar opposite.
yeah, and a few others. I think I skimmed through as well, like as a sort of like this is who this guy is, and
Yeah.
um, what why is so different, like like one's like nowadays our fans are escorted out with a neck brace and the other one's like a very insightful reflecting song, hence Reflect,
Yeah.
about, I guess it's about faith, right? And it's about
Yeah. It's just
why don't you tell me
yeah.
you
Okay.
know
So a bit of context for that
Mm,
track, Reflect. That was I think the second last track that I released as a
mm,
single, and that very much is a bit of insight into reflecting. Like you said too, it touches a lot on faith and how some of that stuff really got me through some darker times. And
Mm.
but that song, it's a deep track, but it's a very kind of easy listening. I even
Yeah.
did a little bit of singing in it, like, you know what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the reason is that's a part of an overall project called Early Mornings,
Yeah.
and I wanted that whole project to be pretty introspective. You know, the type of stuff that
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
pondering, you know, when you're starting your day, you're kind of processing a lot of stuff, and especially if you're in a rough time and you wake up already swimming in thoughts, like like I do often. You know,
Yeah.
it was just that real. What, you know, I just thought, man, you know, when you just standing in the shower and you're not even showering anymore, you're just pondering the
Yeah.
intricacies of the universe for far too long, and you just like zone out. I was like, that's kind of what early mornings is. It's just all that stuff that's going through your head where you just
Yeah.
kind of zoning out and starting your day, waiting for the coffee to kick in.
Yeah.
But I wanted it to contrast the last album I did before that, Late Nights, which was just the type of stuff you want to listen to late at night, getting
Yeah.
in the zone, going to a gig. Just it was real, just a real hip hop friendly kind of release.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
but yeah, like I said, man, I always want to grow and evolve and experiment. You know, I'm a very seasonal person, so I'm like, in this season of life, what's the stuff I'm talking about? What's the sound as well that's going to accompany that? And for myself and Izzy, who I do a lot of work with,
Mm.
you know, we want, if someone gets an Izzy solo album, an Izzy and the Prophet album, and you know, a Prophet solo stuff,
Mm.
each of those should kind of have its own unique sound, even though it's the
100%.
same two people across those three um, things. It
Mm.
should definitely sound different. And so,
Mm.
you know, when you listen to something like Blackout, it's just angry boom bap, and it's, you know, the
Yeah.
stuff that you'd want to hear when we get up live and bust out at, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
at one of the nights in Redfern or whatever. And then Reflect might be, you know, something a little different, same
Yeah.
people, same values,
Yeah.
you know, um,
Mm.
different mood. But
Yeah.
you know, we've always said from the start, you know what I mean, like we want to be very true to who we are. And I want to
Mm.
release music where if I could perform that same thing at a hip hop night or at a community event or
Yeah.
at a seedy pub at a place I've never been, and
Yeah.
then also, you know, I might perform that same song at a youth group at a church one day, or up at
Yeah.
a juvie next week, and it's like it's the same song, same person, same message,
Yeah.
but in a different context, that something else might be taken out of that might mean something to somebody. And that's just,
Mm.
you know, us staying true to, you know, who we are and just being genuine, in all those places. I don't want to put
Yeah.
on a
Yeah.
persona and be a different person when I'm in those different places. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
you know,
And it's a show of integrity, right?
I like
Like
to hope
it.
so. Yeah.
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 Like
That's
in
a big
saying that, like
value of mine, bro. Yeah.
we talk about Blackout, and I'm out of focus. There we go. We talk about Blackout, and you know, and it's a very sort of like hit you with the blackout. I actually put it to one of my videos on my YouTube where I'm
Yeah, bro.
smashing this guy. And it's a song, get your hands up. And
Yeah,
pow,
bro.
pow,
Yeah.
pow.
Dude, that fits really well,
I
man. Which is
did, yeah, yeah.
funny.
I was happy with that.
Come on.
But in saying that, you don't promote, you know, like getting on Xanax or, you know, going and curb stomping some Eshe down the train station because he stole your TNs or something. It's not, even though it is that sort of like pump up music, you know, there is integrity in your lyrics. And you know, you might not find that with other artists. You know, they might bring out a song that was very insightful, and then their next song, you know, like they might, example, like they might bring out like a song about their wife, you know, and how much they love them, but then in the next song they're talking about, you know, bitches and et cetera,
Yeah.
you know,
You're like,
and
what's going on here?
easy girls or whatever, and it's like, you know, I don't see that in your music either. You know, it's your message is very clear in a lot of it, and yeah, so yeah, I
Nice, man.
think you bring a lot of value and a lot of I don't want to use the word integrity because I'm not a thesaurus like you. But you know what I mean. You bring your values to the culture, and I think that's what that's what it needs, especially right now, like with the state of hip hop. I don't know what's going on with it. Like
Mm.
maybe I have different expectations now as I'm older, a little bit
Oh,
wiser,
you've finally reached the point now where you listen and go, "Oh, these kids these days."
Yeah, these kids.
you've you finally
Yeah.
reached the point where you go, "Oh, what is this filth?" But that stuff comes in waves,
Yeah.
and I think too for artists, they mature
Mm,
and grow as well as individuals. I think for like a lot of my earlier music's so angry, bro. Like,
mm,
and I think and I wasn't doing it in a way to glorify certain stuff, but I had to let it out some way or
mm.
another. And I think for a lot of people, when you listen to, especially a lot of rappers as well, they've got a lot of stuff they want to get out. So in the first,
Yeah.
their earlier stuff generally seems to be fairly like
Yeah.
intense because it's just this outpouring, and then
Yeah.
almost after that as an opportunity to go, oh, that was cool. I just had a big vent.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
So
now
therapeutic.
what am I going to do?
Yeah.
What am I going to talk about? And I think if you're open to being, um, fairly vulnerable, you can have ebbs and flows, different waves where you might release something that's a
Mm.
bit more different, a bit more chill, a bit more specific to a topic or a situation, and then come back to your classic stuff again. But I think a lot of people's earlier stuff does tend to
Yeah.
be a bit more aggressive because it's an outlet for a lot of people.
And it's very
And
raw.
yeah, and I think I guess if any younger fellas are tuned into this that are pursuing that, they're writing their stuff. I think that's as an outlet, that's great. It should be empowering and it should be authentic, but you just can't be trapped to being boxed in to that's your identity, because
Mm.
how are you going to ever move forward if you're trapped in the expectation of, oh, that's what I need to be, like I'm a prisoner to my own rep, like I've got to live up to that now. It's like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
if that's kind of sucks if you got these dudes that are you know grown and learn and come out the other side of that.
Yeah.
That's an opportunity to look back from a whole nother vantage point to say,
Mm.
hey, here's what I've learned from that, here's what I've grown from that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know what, if you're in that where I was, last album,
Yeah.
um here's some stuff that I learned that might be useful for you too, if you're living through that, growing through that, experiencing that. Because I know for a lot of people, there are certain artists they listen to, and it's just like, man, this guy's saying what I wish I could say
Yeah.
in my situation. He's putting words to what I'm feeling
Yeah.
and experiencing, and to some people, listening to that just sounds like, oh man, that is so negative and thing, but
Mm.
it's empowering to some. But I think the
Yeah.
the trick is not to be boxed into that and trapped
Mm.
into that, so that's all you are.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you're so much more than that. There's so many
Yeah.
aspects to your world, and places you can speak from. But anyway,
Yeah.
I can only speak from my own experience. I can't,
Yeah.
you know, uh, put any sort of comment or judgment on any other stuff. Like I said, a
Mm.
community is uh, broad, and a culture is always broad, and there's
Yeah.
always different pockets and places. I think it's just unfortunate in certain areas, something as universal as hip hop culture. I think every area has its own certain niche that they are really proud of, that they want that to be, this is what we want to be known for over here. That is the true representation of hip hop from this region of the world. And
Yeah.
um, and it, that's an ongoing thing in Australia. But there are so many different pockets of hip hop over
Yeah.
here within the broader community, and
Mm.
a lot of awesome and wild and weird and beautiful and crazy and awesome, everything. It just
Everything.
depends where you go
Yeah.
and who you're with, and who choose
Yeah.
to journey alongside. um,
That's a good point as well.
mm,
People, the I'm sort of on the fence, but I do think it's a very valid point to make. You know, um, the saying, you are your five friends, like you're an accumulation of your five friends. Basically,
Mm.
if you want to be an MC, hang around MCs. If you
Mm.
want to be a uni student, hang around uni students. You know, you want to be a criminal, hang around criminals.
Yeah.
You know, you want to be a junkie, etc.
Yeah.
Um,
If you want to be a good lawyer, hang around criminals.
yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Um, so basically, like that's the thing, right? Like the people that you hang around with is very, very important in a lot of ways, you know, because say for the sake of the argument, say look at you're a non-smoker,
Mm.
yet everyone around you smokes.
Mm.
So chances are you'll end up smoking. But if you stand by your values and really discipline yourself to it, you won't smoke, but you'll sort of aid the others to think about maybe I should quit smoking.
Mm.
You know, but it's easier said than done because you know it's just all these so many people and there's all that I guess that you just sort of like align yourself with those people, right? So
Mm.
is there a balance between being around people that might not be good for you and still doing it, or should you just walk away from those people that may have negative impact? Obviously,
Jeez.
you know, because you're not there to save anyone,
Mm.
but you know, you might have history with someone, because that's a big part when I changed my life around. It
Mm.
was I realized that I couldn't be around any of my friends, and
Yeah.
it wasn't necessarily because what it was I was changing my life and
Mm.
no one else was, so that made them angry
Mm.
at me, like I'd done something wrong.
Yeah.
um I don't know, what are your thoughts on that, like moving
Yeah.
forward, you know?
I think just for like you said, it's if you want to grow and you want to develop in something,
Mm,
you need to be around people that are the type of people that you want to be like.
mm,
Especially if they're further down the track. I think you're never too old to find a mentor. You're
yeah.
never too far down the road to find someone that is pouring into you. Especially if you're a person that's pouring out, you know, yourself to others as well. And I think too, like it's a touchy thing when you find someone who's in a situation that's not living their best life, and
Mm.
someone comes in and says, "Oh, you can't hang around people like that." You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
It is. It's quite a like, whoa, okay, defenses are up. You know what I mean?
yeah,
What are you
yeah,
judging people for? Especially if
yeah,
they if they're a type of person that really values loyalty.
yeah,
You know what I mean? It's like,
yes,
well, what, you just tell me to just dog all my mates because you're concerned about me?
yeah, yeah,
But I think it's super important for anyone to have a balance of people in their life that are investing into them,
yeah,
and people that they're investing into. And I think if you're in a point in your life where you're wanting change, big change, um, you need to be willing to kind of look up some of the costs and some of the triggers and some of the things that are
mm,
causing you to repeat certain cycles. And if that means saying, hey, I might need to remove myself from being at that location,
mm,
um, half the amount, or hey, I need to balance out and have more time with these people over here because I always feel good about myself with them, and I always feel like I'm becoming a better person, and a
yeah,
little less time with all the people over here.
mm,
That's okay.
yeah,
You don't have to write anyone off or judge anyone, but you need to be in a point where you can make a decision and say, you know what, if I want this for my life, I need to have more of something and less of something.
yeah,
And if that means locations, places,
yeah,
substances, to do that, then
mm,
you know what, that's okay. If you've got something driving you hard enough, whether that's you know being the type of dad you want to be, or the type
yeah,
of husband you want to be, or the type of artist that you want to be, it's all good. And that doesn't mean just dog everyone. Don't dog the boys. You know what I mean? But but
yeah,
at some point, somewhere in life, something's gonna bring up the question: Do I want to grow in this area?
mm,
In order to do that, there's got to be some sort of sacrifices. And if you quit doing a certain thing, but everyone decides to, you know, not like you anymore, that kind of sucks.
Yeah.
And maybe that's a reflection on the strength of some of those relationships anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I know for a lot of people, they might quit a certain substance, or they might stop going out and drinking all the time if they, trying to get out of that life, because they may be, a bit too reliant on that. And then all of a sudden they're like, man, I feel like no one
Yeah.
gets in touch with me anymore. Unfortunately, it sucks, because you start to realize that, man, some of these relationships, I just realized the only thing we had in common was a substance or a thing.
Yeah.
But when you take that thing away, we didn't really have a lot in common, and that's a sad reality for a lot of people. Anyway, but I think too, if you find something you're motivated enough about, like, if you're wanting to pursue being a performer and doing gigs, but some of your lifestyle doesn't super match up with that, and you've got to be willing to take the challenge for someone to say, hey man, you've got to work on your temper, that this anger stuff keeps coming up. Let's find some ways for you to work on that so it doesn't affect you when you tour.
Yeah.
And if you've got someone like that in your life that cares enough to say that, you can't just get defensive and go off at them. You got to kind of chew on that and think about it. And that could mean, completely changing your path as an artist too. Because imagine starting to progress and do all these amazing things, and then you never worked on your temper.
Yeah.
And then you finally get a good opportunity somewhere, and that temper comes out, and you punch out, someone backstage, and then next thing you know, no one's going to want to do a gig with you anymore. You know what I mean? Like, so I think, when you find something you're passionate enough about, it can kind of drive you to want to, grow and develop in ways where you can actually accept the challenge. But like you said, maybe it means balancing out, having some people that care enough about you to be that mentor figure and say, hey, bro, have you considered, how you're going to approach this next year and this next chapter of your life? You know what I mean?
So I have two thoughts right now on paths we can take.
The upside down pyramid.
Yeah, I don't know which way. Okay, so question A would be, you're very vulnerable, and you're very forthcoming in your songs, and you've talked about a lot of your struggles and sobriety and things like that, and like getting off substances. I mean, and sort of what was your why? Okay, so and now the other question that you can, this question B, would be more along the lines of like mentors and young men in particular. We live in a very we live in a place where dads aren't always necessarily they're around, or they're not the best influence, or the big brothers might guilty of this too. They might not be the best influence for their little brothers, or like that father figure, that role model, that big brother type views on that. So question A or question B?
Oh man, multiple choice.
Yeah.
Oh man, I mean they're both amazing, but
we can do both, but
well, maybe let's start with A and and go see where we land.
We'll end up somewhere completely different. That's fine.
Okay, cool. Because I go off on a tangent, bro. Bro, you get me started, and next thing you know, I'm talking about waffles, or I'm just waffling on. Hey, pun intended.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
So yeah, I guess so what the option A was it finding a why or a driving force to
what was your driving force? What was the thing that made you want to, I don't know, do better than you were yesterday?
Yeah, wicked, man. So look, I've always been passionate about mentorship, mentoring. If you're from a old school Jewish background, cut this bit. Actually, cut that bit. Okay, edit. But yeah, I've always been passionate about that, and the reason why that came into my world is at the very right time, the right person with the right heart
Yeah.
stepped in to be that kind of big bro figure in my life, and that ultimately changed the trajectory of my whole world. And it
Mm.
was something as simple as having somebody who cared enough to step in and actually put their money where their mouth is, and journey alongside me, and not just judge some of the behaviors and the actions and things that were going on. But this dude actually saw my heart, and
Mm.
saw me, and really made me feel like I had potential to be something good, or or even great.
Yeah.
And that just blew my mind. But the second layer to that is everything that this guy believed and talked about, he lived it out.
Yeah.
And a lot of the things that I believed um, were that. So watching this guy journey alongside as a mentor figure, and
Mm.
seeing him actually walk the walk,
Yeah.
in the way he carried himself in the community, in the way that he lived out his values, his faith,
Mm.
everything that I thought I knew but didn't see, he was doing and living out.
Yeah.
And I often might hit him up and just remind him of how important that was to me. He's
Yeah.
on the other side of the world, and
Mm.
he's actually, he's not well at the moment, unfortunately,
Mm.
with health wise. So um, definitely, yeah, want him to know how much of an impact that made on my life. So um,
Well, thank you to that
so
guy.
oh, bro, the
Huge shout out
man.
to that guy, man. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bro. I tell you,
Mm.
it's a ripple effect. You know what I mean?
Mm.
When you impact somebody
Yeah.
in a certain way, you don't realize how many other people that person is also going to be a positive
Yes.
um, kind of
Mm.
impact on. And that's this like
Mm.
ripple effect that just echoes into,
Yeah.
and that's next level. And that's, I guess, for me, that's where like the faith stuff comes in. So I was at a bit of a fork in the road up
Yeah.
on,
Yeah.
you know where I was going as a young fella,
Mm.
16, 17. And then this guy really really stepped into my world and journeyed with me, and was a mentor to me. And um yeah, just things just really shifted. It's like almost like he gave me permission and enough confidence in myself to say, you know what, I can be something else. I don't have to default into some of the things I'm doing, or some of the things that people just expect, just because, and there are
Yeah.
so many dudes out there that are in the same boat. They might, I had countless of young dudes who've been just told over and over that you're just going to end up like your uncle, or you're just going to end up
Yeah.
like this, or
Yeah.
oh, you,
Yeah.
you came from that suburb, so of
Yeah.
course you're going
Yeah.
to be this. And
Yeah. Yeah.
mate, you tell someone that enough times, and it's a
Yeah.
self-fulfilling prophecy.
Oh, 100%.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're setting people up, and
Mm.
when someone can come in and truly see you and see your heart and see who you really are behind
Yeah.
all of that stuff, it is absolutely life changing, and
Yeah.
it's a game changer. And so that, yeah, that just was a big change. So I
Mm.
ended up hopping on a plane and moving over to New Zealand, um, as a young fella, and just
Mm.
kind of going somewhere where I didn't know anyone, no one knew me. It was just such a cool way to carve out who am I going to be as a person. That was like a
Yeah.
super important chapter in life of
Mm.
having this blank canvas to say, this is the man I'm going to become.
Mm.
And then years later, moving back here and hitting the ground running, basically, to say, how do I marry all of these things? I want to pursue
Yeah.
the things I'm passionate about with hip hop and just music in general. I want to be making an impact in the community, and I also want to be doing something that aligns with my faith and values, and doing all those things in parallel. It's been a bit of a juggling act, but like we mentioned earlier, when you value things like integrity and authenticity,
Yeah.
you can try and pull some of that stuff off if you're
Yeah.
able to know what hat to put on that day and still be yourself. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I guess that's a bit of context for me. So that's why I'm so passionate about
Yeah.
people finding someone in their life that can be a mentor. I think you should always endeavor to have somebody
Mm.
on the three, someone that
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
looking upwards towards, that that you feel like, okay, I leave there a better person.
Yeah.
Someone you look across to, that you kind of level relationship, that
Yeah.
you make each other better friends, better
Yep.
people, and then somebody that you're looking that's looking up to you
Yeah.
as well, that you can invest into. And
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's a really cool thing to have in place,
Mm.
to have those three key relationships. And some might call it mentoring, some might call it discipleship, whatever, whatever your
Yeah.
background is.
Yeah.
It's super important, and
Yeah.
a lot of cultures do that naturally.
I think it
You know,
truly does make the world a better place.
yeah,
Like
bro.
we're talking about the ripple effect,
Mm,
um, and just goes to show how important it is for you as an individual,
mm.
to put it bluntly, to get your shit together,
Yeah, bro.
and sort of try and be a better person,
Mm.
because like you're worth it. And like I don't care who it is that's watching this, that you are worth it.
Yeah,
It's as
bro.
simple as that. Like if you put in the effort and start making wiser decisions, that adds up over time, and and it truly makes your life a better place, and then everyone around you as well benefits from it as well, so
Mm.
um it's funny because I asked you A and B, and I feel like
Well, we did both.
we did both,
We
right?
did C.
We did C. You're like, no, I choose C.
Yeah, I choose C. Let's do both. Yeah.
Yeah. So
So
um
yeah. So I
yeah.
guess to break it down, the answer to A is my why
Yeah.
was having the right person that helped me get in line with my values and my faith. So
Mm.
I just say values and faith,
Yeah,
two
yeah.
things to put your roots in, that no
Yeah.
matter what happens, no matter what changes around you, those are things that are going to stay consistent in a
Yeah,
bit of a
yeah.
chaotic world. And yeah, the answer to B is I think mentoring is super important for young people, and for young
Mm.
dudes. I mean, because that's the perspective I can speak from, because I was a young dude once, and
No, get out of
no,
town.
and yeah, bro,
Yeah.
I've personally benefited from it, and I feel like
Yeah.
uh, I've seen the benefit in others from putting myself in a position
Mm.
in times and in seasons to invest into others as well, and try and be that person for somebody else,
Yeah.
and I think it's important to find that balance. Anyway.
On mentors,
Mm,
why? Okay, so for the most part, I did a lot of the change and development by myself.
mm,
At the time, I was estranged from my family and removed myself from a lot of people in my life, like that just weren't adding to my life. And I
mm,
realized that I had to get my mental health in check. I
mm,
had to get, my substance abuse in check, and my alcohol, drinking, smoking, all that. I had to stop all that. And I had to build myself by
mm,
myself. And I had anyone that came around me just thought I was crazy because of what I was doing.
mm.
Um, so I didn't have them mentors till later, after I'd sort of built myself in such a way that I was unshakable, you
Nice, man.
know. But what I found was I have such high expectations of myself that mentors fall short of my expectations,
Mm,
and I realized that, I don't know, put it like, you it's not the mentor itself, it's the values that they convey, because we're all human. Like I hold myself to a stupid
mm.
expectation, but I don't meet that,
Yeah, bro.
and then holding that expectation on a mentor,
Mm,
or a parent or whoever it is, they always fall short. And realizing that they're human as well, and they're going to make mistakes. And you might you might like one thing about this mentor,
mm.
they have a great work ethic or something, the rest of their life, maybe,
Might not align with your with
yeah,
your vision of how you want to be.
yeah, yeah. But like, that's something I had to sort of really just sort of start to take on board and understand, was you know, like, oh, I love this person's thing, but it doesn't matter that I don't necessarily agree with the rest of it, but I like how this person does this one thing. And I think for a big part, we're very blessed to have the internet, you know, and you can have mentors just by like you know, like people on podcasts and things like this,
Bro,
and
the amount of things you
mm,
can learn and grow and develop in
yeah.
from just YouTube tutorials,
Oh,
it's
man,
ridiculous.
it is absolutely.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think, bro, and that's for you, bro. That's ridiculously admirable to be in a dark place, with multiple things to work through, feeling alone and isolated, or even having to isolate yourself from those that are remaining because of the cycle that you're going into, and to reach a point where you make a decision and stick with it
Mm.
and work on self, by yourself. That's super admirable, bro. And I bro,
Thanks, man.
I'm in awe of that, like big time. And I
Mm.
wish I had that kind of willpower, and I'm sure a lot of other people do. But I think too,
Mm.
trying to find the right mentor too. It's like,
Yeah.
finding someone that just finds joy out of telling you what to do. That's not a mentor.
I was gonna
You know what I
say,
mean?
isn't
That's
that your
just someone
wife?
that likes to tell you what to. Yeah, I was gonna say, mate, if you want someone just to tell you what to do all the time, go get married. If you want a mentor, no,
I'm
but
gonna
if you
take out
want
the trash can.
a good mentor isn't someone that just comes in and does everything for you. It's not like, oh,
Yeah.
this mentor is going to come in and fix my life. Like, no, 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 no.
Mm.
You need to find somebody that's going to give you the tools or show you how to use some tools that you have in arm's reach to be able to do that stuff yourself. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
a good mentor is somebody that helps you realize you have the power to do these things, and teach you, along the way in some other ways. Not someone that's just going to tell you what to do, but someone you trust enough that
Mm.
can look in from a different vantage point, and maybe ask the right kinds of questions for you to come to some realizations and make some decisions yourself on what to do.
Yeah.
It's not just someone that's going to give you advice all the time or tell you what to do, but someone who's patient enough to journey with you,
Mm.
throw out some questions and challenges that are going to help you understand how or why or what you're going to make that decision in, and
Yeah.
and have your back during that as well, in a way that supports but also challenges. I think that's important. So
Mm.
yeah, I just wanted to reiterate that I was lucky enough to be able to look back and say, hey, a turning point for me was the right person with the right heart at the right
Yeah.
time,
Yeah.
which is awesome. But that
Mm.
that just was just a really incredible timed
Yeah.
thing. But for
Man,
someone
it's
who's in a point where they're actually going, hey, I want change, I'm going to
yeah.
actively look to do that, then I think yeah, being aware that it's not
Mm.
just some magical uh leprechaun's going to appear and
No.
change your life for you. It's going, hey, I need to make the decision to be around some of the
Yeah.
right kinds of people that are going to
Yeah. Yeah.
help me understand the tools that I have in arm's reach to be able to make that change myself, and just know that I'm supported along the way and can
Mm.
be able to do that. And
And it's
yeah,
hard work too.
yeah,
It's not easy. Like,
no,
um, I love the terminology. You know, if it's very religious.
mm,
Um, something about if you want to be a new person, the
mm,
old you has to die.
jeez,
You
there
know,
you go.
it's a bit like the resurrection story, right? Like
Mm,
Jesus dies on the cross. You
mm,
know, but it's the ultimate sacrifice, and we identify it with ourselves and our actions and our values, all the like this whole persona that we create over the years, and then all of a sudden we want to change. We don't want
mm,
to be that person anymore. You
yeah,
have to let go of so much
yeah, bro.
to be a different person.
Mm.
You know, like um and people are going to treat you like that same person as well. Like you'll go down the you'll go down the line, and then people were like, oh yeah, man, you want some weed.
Yeah, well, that's bro. You
You know.
gotta you gotta be prepared for pushback, because
Mm,
certain things are gonna come up, and people are gonna expect you to
yeah.
respond in a certain way, or to
Yeah.
you know to do your use, and sometimes you gotta surprise people.
Yeah.
You know,
Surprise.
so, hey, some fries. Yeah, bro. You, and that's massive, bro. I think, and it's funny
Yeah.
too, because when you do make a decision for change and growth,
Yeah.
there's not too long are you going to find some challenges or obstacles that you weren't expecting, because
Mm,
you haven't identified that thing's maybe a trigger, or that thing's something that's going to cause you to stumble. So
mm,
to stumble back into certain habits and stuff. So
yeah.
it's being prepared to go, you know what, it's going to take some people a bit more time to get used to this new version of myself.
Yeah.
And if you're a fellow who's done some things that might have really lost your trust in relationships,
Mm,
if you've done some things that has caused others some sort of pain or grief in their own life, it's going to take a super long time for certain people to
yeah.
see the new heart, and to be able to earn back that trust and take you seriously again. And I
Mm,
think being prepared for that is super important as well, to go, hey,
yeah.
those who are closest with me and know me, man, they're loving seeing this growth and this change, and there's people
Yeah.
that are excited for me, but there are some others that are still a bit iffy.
Yeah.
What's going on here?
Yeah.
What's he pulling now? You know what I mean? For some
Yeah.
people, that's a big thing to be prepared for. So
100%,
um,
man.
yeah,
100%.
and
You know, I like a close friend of ours, MC Ramsey.
oh yeah,
Oh,
boy,
yeah, boy.
MC Ramsey.
He's got a poem that he does, and talks about, I can't remember the exact words, but he says this is a place where you can come here and be the new you,
Mm,
and so you probably know the poem I'm talking about, yeah?
I do. Yes, yeah.
Yeah. Do you know how it goes?
I know there was a reference to potato and gravy somewhere in
That
there.
KFC.
Um, uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think the
Yeah.
sentiment was, yeah, like this space was somewhere where you're free to come in and be the new you without um, being overshadowed by
Old you.
the air and somewhere.
Yeah.
I forget the phrase. It was
Yeah.
phrased very eloquently, because he's a
Yes. Yeah.
killer spoken word artist. But
Yes.
yeah, the sentiment, bro, is
Yeah.
finding
Uh,
a place or a community where you are free to
Yeah.
be the version of yourself that you
Mm,
wanting to be. Um,
yeah.
it's bro, it's such a freeing,
It is.
empowering, yeah,
I guess that's
beautiful
a,
space
a
to be.
practical step as well. That if
Mm,
someone was looking for that change, or for those mentors and stuff, like coming back to, if you want to be uh, you know, a trainer, hang around trainer, et cetera, et cetera.
mm,
Like, um, practical step would be to go to some of these places,
mm,
like for me, martial arts, right? Like, it ticks so many boxes for me, and so I started hanging around martial artists, and I went to the gym, and I threw my life in there, or I wanted to see the community grow better, so I got around musicians making a difference alongside
mm,
you and Coach Shelder, and um, it's just getting amongst it, right? It's showing up,
yeah.
it doesn't matter if you don't know like anyone, or you might think that, oh, I suck at this, I can't do this, you get better,
Mm,
you get better
that's
at
it.
things, and
Especially especially if it's the right space. And I think that's
yeah.
something. It's a bit of a lost art. Like
Mm,
nowadays, you can do everything yourself, pop it up online. You know what I mean? Whereas,
mm,
which for a lot of people, that's just open up so many doorways. But
mm,
it's lost a sense of community, especially in the
yeah.
creative world. Like, you know what I mean? Like when I was first wanting to get amongst it, if I wanted to, you know, have an opportunity to get on the mic, I needed to be actively turning up to gigs
Yep.
and events. If I wanted to connect with other like-minded people who were, not just into hip-hop, but like,
Yeah.
breathed it, lived it,
Yeah. Yeah.
I had to go to open mics. I had to go turn up and be a part of the furniture there. and
Yeah.
and it wasn't the case where it is today, where it's like, I think I can rap. All right, I'm going to write a rap. I'm going to record it. I'm going
Yep.
to post it up in all these Facebook groups. Oh,
Yep.
now I'm angry at all the comments. Like, it's like,
But
well,
you're an island
it's like,
boy.
yeah, it's like chill, but like,
Yeah.
and for some people, it's like, man, they're like fully blown up, and their first ever time doing a gig in front of
Yeah.
real life humans off the internet is like a
Mm.
packed out show, and I'm like, man, you got whatever happened to cutting your teeth? Get up on an
Yeah.
open
Yeah.
mic. And anyway, long story short,
Mm.
for me, it was like, bro, if I could count the amount of times I turned up somewhere before I even got on the mic,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then how many times I did anything before I'd even given someone a copy of a song to listen to. It
Yeah.
was such a process, man.
Yep.
And I think it really paid off, because you're rubbing shoulders with like-minded people, you're learning, you're growing, you're
Mm.
leaving there inspired to write more, to do more,
Yeah.
to be more active. And I think that's a bit of a lost art. So I'd
Mm.
encourage anyone to really step out of your kind of own bubble a little bit, and
Mm.
go to some, you know when they're open, or when the COVID stuff isn't affecting it too much, like actually go to places where people are doing that stuff together,
Yeah.
grow, learn, be a part of it. Just get
Mm.
amongst it, and you'd be very surprised at not just doing something you're passionate about, but finding yourself a part of a community that actually encourages you to you know step forward in where you want to see your life. It's awesome, man.
Yeah. 100%. Like
Mm.
the more we chat, the more we sort of we keep coming back to that same thing, right? It's I guess community,
Mm.
and not only just like community as a broad sense, but there's so much more to the community. Like say this is the community. There's so many elements in this.
Mm.
That like even that my daughter,
Yeah.
my nephews.
That's cool.
There's so much so many elements in there. Like you want to be in a community that supports you and helps you grow. You want mentors in your life to sort of show you the path on where you're heading, and you want to be there to help people grow as well. And
Mm.
there's so much more. Like it truly is one of those things that like now we're super connected via internet, and we
Mm.
have all this available at the click of a finger, or click of a button. We don't have to go outside. We don't have to engage with people, but I think it gives you the upper hand if you do.
Oh, bro, for sure. For
Like,
sure.
and sometimes people get really busy.
Mm.
Like, and like I saw a great meme. It's like, I didn't know that when I was an adult, I had to make appointments to see my friends.
Shit.
It's like, yeah, let's do 12 o'clock on Wednesday the 15th.
Yeah.
And it's like us, right? Like, we try to book it a coffee and it just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But and I think it's true. Like someone I really admire, Dave Balestri. We've chatted about him before.
Bro.
And something he said to me stuck with me. And it's like, if you want to meet with someone, come prepared. Like,
Mm.
why do you want to meet with that person? What do you want to ask them? Write it down. Don't just come there and go,
Hello.
hi, my name
Yeah.
is Jeff.
Yeah.
What is it that you admire about this person? What is it that you want to learn from this person? Once you figure out what it is, or go and ask that person to if you can buy them a coffee and have half an hour of their time, an hour of their time.
But you'd be surprised at what types of people would be like super, not just okay with it, but super encouraged by the opportunity to actually meet with you and have a coffee and let you pick their brain a bit. Like,
yeah,
if there's someone you in your local vicinity that you really admire, maybe a businessman, maybe it's someone that's further down the line in an industry that you're keen on. Maybe it's someone that's just their philosophy or the things they talk about, or their leadership in a faith community, like whatever. If it's someone that you really look to and go, man, I would love to be able to do some of that stuff in that way in the future. you'd be so surprised at like who might actually respond positively to a phone call to their office, even if you're leaving a message with their
yeah,
receptionist or whatever to say, hey, here's a bit about me. I would absolutely
yeah. I
love to
am
have a
here.
coffee.
I
Yeah.
am. I am here. I
Just
I
talking to your
have
chair.
I have a little friend.
Oh, well.
Well, well, well.
Hey, little one. But
Mm.
yeah, people would be very surprised at some of the responses. You might just get a no response, but I
Yeah,
mean, what's the worst that could happen? You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like,
exactly. You
yeah,
get get left on red. Oh no,
yeah,
you
and
know,
no one's gonna like have a go at you for asking them to have a
no,
coffee. If they're too
no.
busy, then they're too busy.
Yeah,
But at the same time, too, the amount of stuff that you can learn in the
mm.
meantime by hitting up some tutorials, man. There
Yeah,
are
yeah,
bro, I've learned so much off of YouTube. I've learned more off of YouTube than I have in any
yeah, yeah.
any other category lately the last few years. It's crazy.
100%. Like we're
Yeah.
so lucky, you know, to have
Mm,
so much information at our
mm,
fingertips. And it's
yeah.
free.
Bro, people are
It's
just like, oh man, I'm pretty good at, knowing how to pull apart and rebuild this
mm,
weird thing. I'll make a video about it, and the people all over are like, oh man, I've been wanting to know that forever. You know what
yeah,
I mean? It's
yeah.
just crazy what's what people are willing
Mm,
to show others that they've learned from years of whatever it is.
yeah,
Any like bro, even audio engineers, the amount of channels of people that are just like, oh, here's a good skill I picked up in mixing a vocal this way, or in
yeah.
making a this sound like that. Like, bro, people are just
Mm,
more than happy nowadays to give you the secret ingredient to
yeah.
their lovely dish.
Now you don't have to climb to the top of Mount Fuji, train under, you know, the monks for
Yeah, bro.
19 years before you learn the secret. You
Yeah,
know?
bro. It's people
Yeah.
are a bit more than happy lately to go, hey,
Mm,
I'm not going to keep this so close to my chest. I want to, you know,
yeah.
enable others to
Mm,
do this in their own way as well and find that
yeah.
joy. And it's yeah, big culture shift, man.
Yeah. Knowledge
It's cool.
hoarded is knowledge wasted.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah. It's
Um,
and you know what? Only good can come from it, because if everyone's leveling up so quickly, like think of the quality
mm,
and think about what happens next. Like I'm not the greatest video editor or anything like that, but I can edit a pretty decent video, you know.
nice.
It's me being humble again, you know. But you know, that's someone with zero training or anything. I just pick up my phone and do all everything that you see edited on this. I do on my phone.
That's man.
So
Come on.
you know, like, but that means, you know, that the people that, you know, are super into it, they got to step their game up as well. You know, it
Mm,
makes everyone level up, because the baseline for standard, like for normal competency, is raising as
mm.
well. You know, so you got to step your game up. You know, which hopefully some hip hop artists, you know, that are hitting the top 40s can take note of that.
Lyricism.
So
Lyricism. Come on.
lyricism. Where are those lyrics at?
Where's the lyricism? Oh, yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Oh, living the dream.
Yeah. 100%, man. Yeah. Community, leveling up, mentors,
Oh,
you
bro.
know, hip hop history, hip hop
Bro.
head, MC, extraordinaire. Where can we find you? Like where where can we find you? Like what's your
Yeah,
address?
cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so whoa.
It's phone
No,
number.
downstage.
Down
Yeah, so I guess on like music's up on
yeah.
probably most, if not all platforms.
Mm,
So yeah, definitely just check out either Izzy and the Prophet or the Prophet on
mm.
Spotify. Doing a bunch of stuff, man. Always doing stuff with the Crosswords fam.
Yeah, yeah.
Endeavoring to do some stuff independently at the moment,
Mm.
which you'll hear some more about soon, which is awesome. And then looking forward to doing some more with Common Thread Collective as well. So
Check them out.
basically got a handful of dudes who've been around a while that are keen for a second wind, another season behind the mic, and have just
Yeah.
gone, let's just start pumping out singles and
Yeah.
getting amongst it. And that's
Hence
been
when I wake up, right?
when I wake up. Just peace, I'm chasing, release from the
Yeah.
come on. So yeah, that's some stuff happening, bro. So yeah, check it out. I mean, in the description below. We'll
Yeah,
have
yeah.
have
In the
some
description
links,
below. I'll chuck
Awesome.
your link tree down there, and
Right.
and whatever socials and that, and
No, wicked, man.
yeah, look, man, it's been an absolute blessing having you on, man, and I think
Yeah.
you have so much knowledge and wisdom, and I think, you know, like, I'm happy that you want to share that as well, you know, and you want to see people grow, and
Mm.
um you know, going into this, I didn't know what exactly we were going to talk about. I had an idea.
Me either, bro.
Yeah.
I was like, I'll just get a coffee. I
Yeah.
don't mind being on camera because I've got all my teeth now, which is beautiful. So I can actually smile. If not, I was going to talk like this the whole time. But
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Yeah, look at that, bro.
Living them pearly
Oh,
whites.
mate, we
Think about
got
those pearly whites.
we
You know?
both got all our teeth now.
Yeah.
Bro, that's how you know, bro. That's how you know we're just moving on up in our
We're moving
life.
on up.
We've
Yeah.
leveled up in life. Full teeth.
All the teeth, man. All the teeth. Won't catch me at the station.
Yeah, that's dope, bro.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, thank you so much for having me, man. I loved just having a chat. I didn't know what to expect. I was like, oh, we're gonna talk about new music. Are we gonna
Yeah.
share, you know, the old what got you into music? I don't know, but no,
Yeah.
this has been a great chat, bro. And
Yeah.
like I said, this is stuff I'm passionate about, and with
Mm.
you know, some things I'm launching this year is going to be, you know, just a bit more on that heart tip, you know, like
Yeah.
you know, doing a lot more stuff that's specific towards values and faith and personal growth, but just allowing a space for some of those conversations to happen
Yeah.
within a hip hop context or a creative context is yeah, it's always a beautiful thing to see, man. So that's what I'm keen to bring out some more stuff in the future that's specifically yeah, investing into that. So we'll see.
Early mornings.
Oh, a bit of early mornings, bro. Come on.
Bit of early mornings, and it'll be on Spotify shortly.
Yeah, hell yeah. Saying that for 10 years.
Nah, man, look, I can't wait. I love your music. If you're following me on my martial arts journey as well, on Elijah Stevenson's the YouTube channel, you'll see at the end of most of my videos, there's a little bit of the prof situation happening there, and thank you so much for letting me use that. Use your music on my videos and stuff like that.
Thank you for punching and kicking things to my music, bro.
Yeah, man, it's the least I can do. You know, I make sure they leave in a neck brace. Yeah, but yeah, thank you for your time, and man, look, we'll definitely catch up shortly.
Yeah,
and we'll add all the links down below. I'll even put my link down below because why not? Do it.
Yeah.
Feed him. They're like, what are these guys talking about? Yeah, awesome, man. We'll actually have to do a IRL soon, you know, and yeah, just catch up for a coffee. I'm keen. You're keen? I'm keen.
IRL over URL.
Yeah. Right on, man. Well, I'll talk to you soon, hey, and thanks for coming on again.
All right, all good, my brother. Thank you for having me, man.
Anytime,
peace, guys.
Man. Peace. All right.